Hi, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the West Hollywood informational session for our ADU pilot program. I'm going to kick things off with some introductions and ground rules. First off, our ground rules. So in the Zoom format, we would like to all just remind each other to be respectful. Everybody is muted now or should be muted, and please continue to be muted unless you're speaking during the Q&A portion. We encourage everyone to participate, and we want your feedback on the program. During the question and answer section at the end after our presentation, we are going to ask folks to unmute themselves and ask their question. If you're joining us on a cell phone, you can toggle *6 to be unmuted, and then we can hear you. And I'll remind folks again at the end how that works. Again, if you could please hold your questions. I know you might have questions as we're going through, but let's just get through the presentation, which should be, we think, about 10 minutes. And then the remaining time will be for any questions you might have as a community member. So with that, I'm going to introduce our team. My name is Allison Bartle. I am the Project Development Administrator for the city's Property Development Division. I'm joined by my manager, Brian League. And we are also joined by our esteemed ADU consultants. We have Gina and Andrew from Casitas Development, and Design with Skill, we have Samantha Hill joining us, and I will turn it over to them to walk through the program. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this information session, those who are joining during the live call and those who will watch it afterwards as it's recorded. During this session, we'll go over 9 points: an overview of the pilot program itself, what is an accessory dwelling unit, information on the loan program, the eligibility requirements for the loan, the process in which we'll be taking applications, the scoring preferences, the workflow for the program, a little bit more about our consultant team, and then at the end, a question and answer session that we hope gives some more insight. For the overview of the program, the City of West Hollywood is offering this new affordable housing initiative, which incentivizes property owners to create affordable rental units on their property. This program offers property owners comprehensive assistance for financing, design, permitting, and construction for a new ADU within the City of West Hollywood. It is recognized that expanding the stock of accessory dwelling units is an important tool in the city's strategy to addressing the shortage of affordable housing in West Hollywood, and we encourage the provisions of ADUs and the city to assist property owners for this construction and rehabilitation of accessory dwelling units. What is an accessory dwelling unit, or an ADU in short? An ADU is a self-contained residential unit that shares the same lot as the primary unit, but generally includes a living room, a sleeping area, a kitchen, and a bathroom. There are 2 different types of ADUs: a newly constructed accessory dwelling unit, which is classified as a new structure or an addition to an existing structure that may either be attached or detached to the primary residence, but still located on the same lot. The second type is a converted accessory dwelling unit that is constructed through a conversion of part of the existing floor area of the residence. This can be an accessory structure such as a garage, a pool house, a studio, a recreation room, something that's non-livable space. ADUs for this program can be added on single-family residence or multifamily properties. For the sake of what multifamily is, it's an attached duplex or more. Single family is a single family home.
Great, thank you, Andrew. So I'm Samantha Hill. I am part of the ADU consultant team. I'm joined with Andrew and Gina, and I'm going to just kind of walk everyone through the loan program itself. And so the city is offering a low interest loan for the construction of a new accessory dwelling unit. And that loan amount is $150,000 max. So I'm just going to go through some of the bullet points here of the loan terms and requirements. It will be a 3-year loan with 1% simple interest. There is 3 years deferred payments. That includes the principal and the interest. And there's the option to do 2 1-year extension options. So up to a total of 5 years. The loan must be refinanced prior to the end of the deferred payment period. Also, failure to refinance, that will result in a 1% loan conversion fee of both the principal and the interest. So keep that in mind. And that loan, that will convert to a 30-year conventional with compounding interest at a rate of 1%. And so the key here with this loan and why the city is offering such a great financial deal, and this is a good, low interest loan, is the requirement is that the property, that ADU, must be rented to a Section 8 tenant voucher holder. And that period that it must be rented for is a 7-year continuous term. And that will be executed through a landlord agreement with the city. Also, additionally, a request for notice that will be recorded on the property title until that 7-year commitment is met. And so additionally, along with the request for notice, the ADU itself is going to be deed restricted. And so it's going to be deed restricted for that 7-year period, specifically for that low income tenant. And that tenant will be, it's based on their income level. So the income is below the 50% of the AMI, or the area median income, in Los Angeles County. And the borrower of the loan, they will work with the city in terms of identifying a Section 8 voucher holder and finding the tenant for their ADU. Tax adjustments or penalty implications, and this is really important for the property owner and the applicant to keep in mind, that tax adjustments and tax penalties may apply, and that is the responsibility of the borrower. So you really should contact your tax professional or CPA just in case, there's the improvements to the property do elicit additional tax implications. Another thing to keep in mind, our team, we work with various government agencies to help in terms of financing. So we look for additional grants that we can find towards putting into the construction of the ADU. With the award of any of those grants, there are also potential tax implications. And so that's something that as we move further into the program, we can discuss the specifics, but that's just something to keep in mind as well. Now, any failure to meet the terms and conditions of the loan, that will result in repayment in whole or part of the principal and the interest. And another thing to keep in mind, we are very serious about making sure that this is an affordable housing program. And so there will be a penalty enforced for any ADU that participates in this property, any property owner that does not rent to a Section 8 tenant for more than 90 days. So if the ADU is vacant for more than 90 days without a tenant, or if it's rented to someone other than a Section 8 voucher holder, there are financial penalties. Now let's go into the eligibility requirements. So it's pretty straightforward. Essentially, to be considered for the program, single family property owners, they just have to show proof that they have occupied the property as their primary residence for the past year. So just for 1 year. And then the other requirement is that they must be willing, both multifamily or single family properties must be willing to rent to a Section 8 voucher holder for a minimum of 7 continuous years. All right, so let's get into the application process. So in order to apply, everything's going to be done digitally. So program applications are downloaded from the website. So the program's website is West Hollywood ADU Pilot Program. And we'll walk you through this today. The website address is www.weho.org/ADU Pilot. The application window, it is from August 1st, so starting, I believe it's next week or the end of this week, and it begins and then ends, September 30th. So there's a 2-month window to apply. Program eligibility will be determined based on the completeness of the application. So we request that all information is provided, also that all information is correct and accurate. Any inaccurate information or incorrect information, unfortunately, will be deemed ineligible. Eligible applications, they will be ranked according to the program scoring and preferences, which we will go over in subsequent slides. And please keep in mind that if you are selected to participate in this program, you will have 20 days to submit your required loan documentation for verification and preparation of that loan package. So we will be awarding the applicants, the selected applicants, November 1st, and then they have 20 days, up to November 20th, to get that required information in. And then upon verification and approval of that package, the property owner and the borrower, the loan borrower, will work with our team, so myself, Andrew, and Gina, to start the process, which includes pre-design, design, permitting, bidding, and construction. And before we get into that process, I just want to take everybody quickly through the website. So if you go to the weho.org/ADU pilot program, can everyone see my screen? If you can just a thumbs up. Okay, excellent. So this is the website here. You'll see it. Similar information. We're providing eligibility criteria, loan terms and conditions, which we've just gone over, the loan term, the maximum, excuse me. This is in regard to our information sessions, which we're having currently, and we will have another one in person this evening at 6 p.m. at Plummer Park. Now, the application process. So the application is shown here as a link. It can be downloaded, which I will click on in a second and show everyone. We also have another link beneath that, our guidebook, which really dives into a lot more detail. So you can take a look at that, dive into that. We highly recommend that you review that. And should you have any questions, you can reach out to Allison at the city, which we're providing her contact information at the end of this presentation. So again, as I mentioned earlier, the award date is November 1st, and the loan documentation, all of the information is due on November 20th. Then our plan is, once awarded and we have everything squared away, we will be kicking off the program to start design starting February of 2023. Now, I'm just going to quickly go to the application so we all can see. So when I click on that link, this is what comes up. First page, just our cover page. So this is similar information to what we're reviewing today, an overview of the programs, our selection categories, which we may not have previously mentioned that, but we're really looking to do a conversion of a garage or another structure on site, potentially new construction, something that's ground up. And we'd also like to do a multifamily category. So your property, pretty much every property in West Hollywood would work within this program. Again, more information on ADUs. I'm just going to kind of go through this really quickly, scroll down to get to the part where the information needs to be filled in by you, the applicant. So applicant information, general contact information, email, phone number, potentially a co-applicant, how long you've occupied the home, the household information, so the individual borrower, their income. We have in this document, there's also an appendices that defines what income is, so please take a look at that. How many household members there are, including their information. Second page, so it's just a two-page form. It's pretty straightforward. Financial information, such as your monthly gross income, credit card payments, loan payments, mortgage, credit card score. We are also asking you for the mortgage balance of your current property. Then the Zillow estimate or the Zestimate. If you have trouble or you're unsure how to find that information, Allison at the city can help, or our team can help as well. Zone classification of your property. You may not be familiar with how your property is zoned. We've provided a map as part of the appendices here, which I'll point out. If you still have issues, you can always put that you were not sure, and our team will be verifying and checking the zoning. And that's true of the next few questions as well. Is your property located in a historic district? If you're not sure, you can put that you're not aware. Also, your individual property itself, is it deemed historic? And then we really would like to know if your property is built into a hillside. And last but not least, and these are pretty important, we'd like you to describe your plan or your intentions for this ADU. So, and when I say intentions, I really mean kind of a description of what you're looking to do, how many bedrooms you're looking to put, where you want to locate it on the site. If you've, access to the ADU, do you have to go through your house to get to the accessory dwelling unit? Can you access it from the driveway? So any information that you can provide is really helpful for our team We will be following up with questions once we receive this, but the more information that you can provide, the better. If it requires you to add an additional page to write additional information, that is completely acceptable. And then last but not least, we are asking that you provide a minimum of 4 photos just to show us where on the property you are planning to locate the ADU. If you're really not sure yet and you have some different options that you're considering, that's fine as well. We just want to get a sense of what your intent is. And so this way we know, and it can help to make sure that we can ensure you are the correct fit for the program and we're the correct fit and this program is the correct fit for you as well. And then last but not least, I just wanted to mention that, again, as I previously said, we just are asking that everybody provides accurate information. Unfortunately, if information is accurate, we're going to have to deem the application ineligible, and we really would prefer not to do that. So please just make sure you're providing accurate information. This first map, as I mentioned, this is previously to ask for the zoning classification of your property. This can be used as reference. You can also go to the planning department's website if you're familiar with that. We also have some additional maps here, and these are going to be part of the scoring criteria, which Gina will go into next in our next couple slides, which I'm going to, so some of these maps are all related to that scoring criteria. And then last, I just wanted to point out that this last section of the appendices here talks about the income requirements calculations and specifically. So if you're unsure, please refer to this. If you still have further questions, you can reach out to Allison. So I'm now going to go back to the presentation here on the application process. And so that's a general overview of that process. And we'll now move into scoring and the preference.
Great. Thanks, Sam. And I'm Gina Wasoric, also part of the ADU consultant team. So I'm going to briefly just be going over the scoring and preferences and then also the program workflow. So for the scoring and preferences, scoring is going to be ranked from 1 to 10 points, obviously 10 being the highest, most applicable. For all of the applicable items that you see on the slide, you will receive 1 point, with the exception being if you're within half a mile of bike lane and open space locations per the SCAG map in your application, which is an application and handbook, those will receive 1/2 points for the scoring criteria. Priority for us is the ADU or potential ADU equipped for senior and disabled access. So we're asking here, does the property have stairs or is there already a ramp instead? Is it easily accessible? The second is a size, a maximum of 500 square feet. That's for a couple different reasons. A smaller project is more cost efficient from staying within our budget of the required loan budget. And also it's not applicable to some of the same fees as the larger ADU projects. Utility access, including sewer connection, 25 feet or less. You may not know this, and that's okay, but we can help you out with that. This is just to make sure that less demo of existing landscape and concrete will be required for trenching the sewer line, getting that sewer line from the ADU to the street. Income under 158,000. This is for a couple of different reasons. There's a Cali program loan if you qualify under 158,000, and that is again refer to the handbook and guidebook for what qualifies as income, and this is per applicant that is listed for the program. Resident is not located within a historic district or listed on the California Register of Historic Resource. You can look that up online, but if you don't know, simply just put unknown on the application and we'll look that up for you. And the physical location of the planned ADU on the site. And Sam went into various reasons why that's important, but that is definitely, we need to know what that information is. It has to do with feasibility and making sure that what you intend to build is feasible given different things that could be on properties such as electrical pole location. So just to point out one of the things. Second priority is property location, and this is per the SCAG map. So we said there's a lot of reference to SCAG. So just so for your reference on the phone, SCAG is Southern California Association of Governments. It's the nation's largest metropolitan planning organization. So these maps are from them. And the NMA area is the neighborhood mobility area. The TPA area is the transit priority area. And then we have the within half mile of the bike lane access and open space. Those are both the 1/2 point scoring. And then the third priority is occupancy. If the homeowner has occupied the home for previous 3 years or more continuous, is more applicable to the single family residents that are applying versus the multifamily. And then if we have multiple with the same scores, there will be a lottery and tiebreaker, and we will get to that and reach out to the applicants when and if that does happen. Moving on to program workflow. So the first 2 months, we will be August 1st to September 30th. It's the time to complete your applications digitally and email them over to Allison. And in the meantime, that's also your time to ask questions. If you have any questions or if there's some information you need to collect to make sure that you make sure that application is most accurate as possible. We have a 2-month window in order to do so. Then what we expect the next 3 months is for the underwriting and pre-design. And so what that means, stage 1 is the loan package and preparation. And that involves the package checklist, summary page, residential loan application, credit reports, mortgage statement. All of that is in the handbook and in the application. So again, not to get into the nuances of that, you can take a look at that online. Stage 2 is pre-design work, and that's going to be with us, the ADU consultants. And that involves providing consultation to the property owner, possibly performing most likely property inspections besides the photos that you've given us, just to verify everything is accurate, discuss with you the location of the ADU. We'll review the program with you. We're going to assist you with identifying other consultants, and we're going to let you know what the requirements are of those consultants. So when you are reaching out to them, that they're on board and they understand what is required from them should they be a part of this program. And then stage 3 is approval. And that is going to be just your you as an owner, you've submitted to the loan review committee for approval. And we will, once that's received and executed, we'll issue a notice to proceed. That's when the exciting stuff happens, the design and pre-construction period. And that's when we'll be helping you select a design team that includes an architect, engineers, Title 24. If you have any specialty engineers that need to also be on board for this, or a surveyor, we will help you. If you don't have somebody that you would like to reach out to, we can discuss the design of the ADU with you, but you'll also be that'll be a fun part of the process for you as the owner. And then once we have that ready, we get a floor plan that the designer, our architectural designer, has provided, and
We lost you, Gina. We'll give her just 1 second there. Gina, can you hear us? I think it's frozen. So I'll jump in here and we'll just I'll wrap this up. And then if Gina joins back in, then she can everyone hear me? Thumbs up? Okay, excellent, great. So as Gina was mentioning, she was talking about the fun part, getting to the design of the ADU. And then once you've got your plan set ready for submission, once all of the consultants and everything that's required for submission for plan check, so that's essentially to go through the process with the city to make sure that you can get approval to build the unit, the ADU. We will then work with the design team to submit the plans for permit approval, and we'll also be working with the planning and building department to make sure that everything that we're going through that plan check process. And it often requires a couple rounds of review and corrections. And so we'll be helping, and that's the role of our team, the ADU consultant, to make sure that everything's running smoothly in that process. And so the next, looking at the construction and post-construction period. So that's about an 8 to 12 month window. One thing that we wanted to mention here was that with this time frame, it's a time commitment. It is really kind of generally looking at the program workflow. We're talking about a 2-year time frame, so just please keep that in mind. And so for the 8 to 12 months, that's going through looking to select a general contractor. Once you have a contractor board, starting construction, doing construction monitoring, make sure everything's moving along, and then ultimately completing construction and getting your certificate of occupancy, or what a certificate of occupancy is allowing someone to utilize or use the building. And so I see Gina's joined us. So Gina,
My apologies, Sam. Thanks for taking over.
No
I
problem.
got kicked off as Zoom fun, Zoom technical difficulties. So the last 2 months is tenant selection and post-construction, and that's where you're going to be paired into selecting your Section 8 tenant. That is going to be hopefully within your home for 7 years, 10 years, 15 years. We hope you establish a relationship, a long-standing relationship with that tenant. That's very important to us. That's the goal of the program. And then there is going to be quarterly verification that ADU is rented to Section 8 tenant. If someone leaves, there is going to be only a small gap allowed in order to get the next Section 8 tenant in. And that about sums it up. Again, sorry for that frozen delay. I'm going to turn it back to Allison for Q&A.
So we're going to open this up now to questions from anyone that's on the call. You're welcome to unmute yourself and let us know if you have questions. We'll just leave space now for folks to do that. Again, if you're calling in, that's *6. And then if you're on the platform on mute, you can simply click the microphone. Right now it's clicked red, and then you'd click to unmute yourself. Oh, Manny, go ahead. You can go ahead and speak. I see your hand raised.
Yes, hi everybody. Manny Rodriguez. I'm a resident here in West Hollywood, single family homeowner. Just a few questions and observations. First, and you can answer these after I go through my spiel here. The 25-foot to sewer line, that's not clear to me. I mean, 25 feet is the middle of my living room to the sewer line. So just see if you can sort of clarify that. You know, once you get this 1% loan, I'm assuming this construction of this ADU would probably be about $250,000, and you could tell me afterward whether that's a reasonable amount. So you have this 1% loan, then you have your other loan to finish it off. You know, that aside from the loan payments, your property tax is gonna, depending on, you know, what the value of your house is, could be anywhere from $700 to $1,000 more a month just in property tax because of the improvement. So that, you know, seems to go into your costs. And you're looking at a small 1-bedroom unit, which I think valued in West Hollywood now in the open market is about $3,000 a month. Do the voucher tenants, does the landlord get that open market rent with a voucher and from the tenant? Is that how it works? Or are you getting a sub-market rent with a voucher tenant? That's a question that I was curious about. And also, you know, most importantly, I guess is, you know, what happens after 7 years? You know, 7 years ago was 2015. It's not a very long time ago. 7 years from now, open market, that unit will be worth $3,200 a month. And now you are no longer obligated. The city gave you a 1% loan to build this, and you are no longer obligated to do anything other than maybe rent it out as a short-term rental for $6,000 a month with no parking. So that's our West Hollywood short-term rental ordinance allows you to do that as long as you're living in the main house. So, you know, this is a problem. You know, short-term rentals, and by the way, I'm license number 0001 of a short-term rental in the back of my house. But I will tell you, short-term rentals are destroying residential neighborhoods. I no longer do it at this point. And this has to be considered. And lastly, just, you know, a comment. I know Brian was on this meeting about the 1343 Laurel the other day, you know, when we talk about a housing crisis. This is all fine and good if it pencils out, but at the same time, on a 30,000 square foot lot on Laurel, in a residentially zoned neighborhood, the city wants to put 4 artists in a dog park. This is outrageous. Okay, so we really should never ever say housing crisis ever again if we're going to do that to that 30,000 square foot property. Anyway, those are my questions. I appreciate some clarification. Thank you.
Sure, I can start off on the list. I know there's quite a few, so I think a few of us will take the different ones. You started by asking for the sewer line. Yes, it does depend. We're not saying that someone who doesn't have 25 feet will not be a part of the program. We're just advising, we're keeping cost in mind. So we'll figure out how much that trenching is with a professional. But to move on to your comment about the $250,000, we anticipate, and we are doing another program successfully in Pasadena right now. And between our team and the consultant team, Casitas is built or has in design over 90 years. This loan, the loan for the Pasadena program, is either $100,000 or $150,000 with the max up to $200,000 for new construction. That includes everything. That includes your architectural designer, your engineer, your Title 24, any surveying that you have to do. And that includes the GC. No GCs are going to be a part of this program who don't provide bids that are cost effective and that are onerous at all. So we have found many local contractors who will abide by all of the requirements that the city has asked for and are lower than the budget. And we track all of the budgeted items. So we know after the pre-design on how much you have left to build. And there's some exceptions. This is for a Section 8 tenant. There's not going to be any luxury cabinets or cabinetry in here. This is going to be designed efficiently and for, still nicely, but for a Section 8 homeowner, off the good item, off the shelf items at Home Depot, and things that still make it a very nice unit, but it's going to be kept under that $150,000 all in. And if there is not a contractor, the contractor will not qualify if they can't provide us or get their bid down to be that much. And we haven't had an issue with it. And I understand, we don't know about cost creep in the next few years, but able to do it. That program launched in December 2019 with the construction just happening right now. So I just wanted to mention that it is we were entirely able to build units for all in for under $150,000. And that's why that number was earmarked for this program. I'll let Andrew answer the next question that you had.
Yeah, hey Manny, nice to speak to you. I think the next question that you had was the taxes. I don't know if you know this or not, but accessory dwelling units are a blended tax rate. So that taxes doesn't re-establish the tax rate for your existing single family home or multifamily. It is based on the valuation of the application when we submit it, and that is added into what you're currently paying for your taxes. I would say just about every time it is a fairly low number. Let's just say the valuation is the full $150,000. That's around $1,800 a year in taxes. So it's definitely still affordable with the income that we'd be generating, even with a subsidized Section 8 voucher. The next question you had is what happens in 7 years? This is a circular program. As you make payments and as the loan is paid off, it creates new affordable units. So after those 7 units, if all goes well, there will be more units that will be replaced those as they fall off. So the program is self-satisfying and it generates more. So say it gets paid off in that 7-year affordable covenant, whether you decide as the homeowner or the multifamily owner to keep that tenant or not, more of those units will already be established from the repayment of this loan and it being put back out there to establish more affordable units. That's why this program works so well, is that it continuously builds into itself to create more units. I think we also, you had brought up short-term rentals. You may or may not know that accessory dwelling units have a covenant against short-term rentals. Your primary residence falls under the single rental or the short-term rental ordinance, but accessory dwelling units have a covenant that you will not rent it out for less than 30 days. So that shouldn't apply towards this program or pretty much any accessory dwelling units in the city of West Hollywood.
Well, thank you very much for the clarifications. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Any other questions? Again, *6 to unmute or unmute yourself on the app if you're on a computer.
And Allison, I don't know if we went over these ones, so we can do that as well if nobody else has questions.
Allison, did you want to go over, I think Manny might have also mentioned about the how the Section 8 voucher works and the market rate, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I was just going to state that the tenant is going to be coming from our inclusionary housing wait list. So the city maintains a very extensive wait list for our inclusionary housing program. And whenever the unit is complete, we're going to take the applicant that is at the top of our list with a Section 8 voucher and put them in that unit. And that also means, we were discussing what happens at year 7. The goal would be that you want to stay with the program, but should you not, the tenant that is occupying your unit will be placed into a new unit in a different building that becomes available. And we have a 100% rehousing rate for anyone that is displaced within our program. So the idea would be to keep those people housed in the city of West Hollywood in a comparable unit in a different place. And, I think another question is the homeowner, or the multifamily owner would get the full voucher standard payment, just as if they were housing any other Section 8 tenant in a different program. Manny, I'm happy to, we've got time.
Yeah.
Go for it.
No, I was a bit of a skeptic, coming into this, but it really does sound like a really worthwhile program. I just want to be clear though, just on one thing. This is not, I'm not asking for myself. I'm asking, for, other people that might want to make some money on their property. Would they be able to get the market rate for that unit with a Section 8 arrangement? And the reason I'm asking is, what is the motivation? What's the incentive for someone to do this? If they could build an ADU without the 1% loan and rent it out, open market, is it equal, the rent?
Yeah, so again, this program, we know ADUs are being produced in the city of West Hollywood, and the intent is that we are using public funds, we are using city funds to encourage the development of a lower income, affordable accessory dwelling unit. So this is part of our larger housing goals, and Manny, you're absolutely right that if you have the capital, you can build your ADU, and many folks in the city of West Hollywood are doing that, and you can rent it at the fair market that you can achieve in the city of West Hollywood, and that can be a very high price. It's a very expensive place to live. So, the county actually establishes what the Section 8 payment standards are, and those are updated each year. And they are, you as the homeowner are directly paid. So one of the, the advantages of the Section 8 program is you as the landlord know that you're going to receive payment because the county is essentially, writing you a check each month. And so there's a reliability there. But you're exactly right that this program isn't going to be for everybody. And if you're interested in a market rate production on your property, and you have the capital, then you would be welcome to pursue this. This is just providing an alternative, and we hope a way to deliver something else to the market that's not currently being delivered.
It is an alternative, and maybe the right people will choose to step up. And also, it's really good to know that is it a covenant, right? That you cannot rent an ADU out as a short-term rental under 30 days. I didn't know that. I looked at them as, ADUs and not what the main houses are, guidelines for that. So that's very important, because that was my primary concern, to see this. And by the way, the short-term rental program in West Hollywood is really in a standstill. I don't know what's going on, but there might be some changes happening to it, because you can't get a license.
Yeah, I know that there's been a change in our code or restructuring of our code enforcement team. So Manny, if you want to reach out to me or Brian, we're happy to see what's going on. I know that part of it is just a restructure that occurred, but the intent is to ultimately make it run a little bit more smoothly.
Good. And I think it's also, if you're going to have short-term rentals, and again, I joined a long time ago, but I'm not a supporter of short-term rentals. Isn't that funny, right? But I think that if you have to have a short-term rental ordinance, West Hollywood has the best ordinance, where you have to live on the property, supervising your short-term rental, tenant. So it's not a total free-for-all. If you're going to have it, we're doing it the right way. But however way it goes, if it all goes away, short-term rentals, I would prefer that, to be honest.
Manny, can I, the income for Section 8 is set by the county, and in certain areas, it may be very close or similar to market rent. So we'll see. It's all based on what gets picked and what gets converted and what the ADU looks like. But it's very, there is a chance that it's very similar to market rent. But also, today the Fed raised the interest rate again, which happened 30 days ago. A 1% loan is a very, very competitive loan, especially with how this continues to go, without even looking at the future, what could happen next 30 days and from there. So there is incentives on just a very low cost loan, and for someone to want to get access to capital that may not have the access or just doesn't want to take out a hard money or a prevailing rate loan.
I definitely see the incentive now that you're not building this, fancy schmancy, over the top, thing in your backyard. You're building something that's, very that's useful, in this type of level. And I think some people might actually be interested in that. Yep.
Yeah, great. And I think that goes along to, one of the first questions on here, how much will the ADU cost? Our goal is all in under $150,000. So we don't want anybody coming in saying, I'm going to put an extra $100,000 because I want fancy pictures. No, that's not the goal of the program. That's not what's allowed. We want you to stay within budget. We're hiring vendors having, that are looking forward to working with the city, that like the whole idea of this going to a low income tenant, that's going to work with us. And that's the whole goal of the program. And that's the vendors that we would like to work with. And same thing as what we're doing in Pasadena. And that's how we're going to keep that cost down. And then also, as part of the ADU consultant team, you have somebody who is helping you make sure that those contractors, once you start building, are meeting their deadlines, right? And those contractors don't get paid until they meet their deadlines that set forth in the contract. So that's why we're going to sticking that to that 8 to 12 months that we went over. So I just wanted to address a couple of those questions. But as us as the ADU consultant team, we're here to make sure that you are selecting, that we vet those vendors that you're going to work with, that they have good experience, reliability, and reputation in the market, that their proposals seem fair. We all have seen a lot of bids, and we know where we can cut corners and value engineer things to build a really nice ADU still. And so we'll be there every step of the way to kind of go through that and answer questions with you, along with Allison and Brian.
I don't see any more questions or hands raised. I think another point that I just wanted to add, just overall speaking of the program and hearing this conversation with Manny and amongst our team, the whole point of the program too is we are trying to add more affordable units within West Hollywood. And so this is a great way to create a public-private partnership. So we're taking a parcel and that's already owned by a resident within West Hollywood, and they're adding an affordable unit to the property. Oftentimes we think about affordable housing, and it's unfortunately, there's a very negative, there's often a negative association with it, and it's often treated as, okay, well, that's, we want to build it in an area, we want it separate from certain locations within our city. We want to segregate it, unfortunately. And so this is a way where we're really integrating, we've got market rate and affordable, and we're integrating them on the same lot. And it's a reasonable scale too. We're talking about low density where we've got 2 units, potentially even 3 units on, on a lot. So it's very, it's nice. It's something that's got low density. It's addressing affordability. It's also addressing a cultural shift that, breaks down that stigma of affordable housing. So we really, Manny, I heard you mention that, this program might be, there might be the right applicant, and that's what we're looking for, the right applicant, somebody who is interested in this, shares that point of view, and they really want to help bring affordable housing to West Hollywood.
Could be me.
That would be great. Please apply. We're asking that everybody apply. Even if you think you may not be eligible, please just apply, because we can work with everyone. We'll take, we'll just fill out the application, make sure it's fully complete. And like we had mentioned earlier in that process, we will be reaching out to applicants to discuss more about their property. We'll do site visits and inspections to kind of better understand your goals as the property owner, and long-term goals as well. And so please apply.
And with that, maybe we can provide contact information one more time. Here we are. So the adupilot@weho.org, that email actually goes to all of us. You can also call me directly. My phone number is listed there below. It ends in 6323. And then our website has, again, all the contact information as well. And that's weho.org/adupilot. That's where the application is, and the guidebook and anything else directed there. With that, we'll go ahead and leave a tiny space more for any last minute questions. Otherwise, we can wrap and give you all 10 minutes back. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us, and please reach out should you have any questions. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.